So in this video, we're going to be looking at VCV Rack and going over some quick little ways that I like to start out a patch. This is by no means the only way. This is just a suggestion. That's the beauty of VCV Rack. There's a million ways to do the same thing. Feel free to comment down below on different ways you like to start patches, different things that you like to approach it with. And if you like this video, definitely like and subscribe as well. Let's get started. All right, so first off, we're just going to go up to File, and we're going to go to New, and we're going to nuke this. Whenever you start up VCV, this is what you're going to get, this little screen here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So this is normally where you would connect a MIDI keyboard or a mini device, but I don't have anything like that. So I basically start out with just this audio interface. We'll go ahead and choose the output that we're at. This is using the HDMI, so we're going to have to put it at 48 kilohertz for it to work. And you can use different buffer ranges. I just like to crank it up. Once we're there, we've got the audio interface. We need to connect left and right up. We're going to right-click on an empty space, and now you're met with the foreboding list of modules. Let's go down to these organizers here and choose Mixer. For quite a while, I've been really enjoying this MindMeld mixer. It has a lot of features, and there's different versions of it. For now, we're just going to be keeping it very simple and just have this console here. We need to connect the main outputs into the audio interface. And now we're set up for the mixer to come in on our speakers. So the next obvious thing is, what do we do with sound? How do we get some music, some jams going? So I went and hit reset here. We're going to go down to, there's a couple of different ones. Of course, there's the stock VCV, but I want to go over something I've been using a lot lately and I'm very familiar with, which is BogAudio. Now you can change the appearance, so yours may look a little different than mine, but these are great modules with a lot of functionality, as you'll see here. All right, let's grab a VCO here. Now we have the 4 outputs here, and then we have the we have 4 inputs here. You can tell that there's a little bit of a design here where outputs are marked with a darker area and then inputs are marked with a light. You can see the same occurring up here. Not all modules follow that, but it is fairly common to see. Of course, you can always just plug into an area and you'll see all the available things that you can plug into that are accessible. So let's go ahead and plug this into the mixer. Let me turn this down because I already know it's going to be loud. And there we go. Now, I'd normally just like to turn this down to a more manageable frequency. So with any new module, if I don't know how it works and I don't quite understand what all the inputs are, what they affect, my go-to is to get something like an LFO. So I right-clicked again. Here's BogAudio's LFO. It's really, they have several, but this is a very simple, straightforward one. We're going to plug it into the volts per octave, and it's going to cause it to swing up and down pretty far. Here, let's even zoom in a little bit more on this. Now, this LFO actually has the scale out attenuates the output. Whenever you see a marking like this, normally that's where you're going to put any type of note scales, like a keyboard or a sequencer or something like that, that you want it to work in a musical scaling that's going to be consistent with other modules. meaning that all the ones that have 1 volt per octave, they are all in the exact same span and scaling, so that if you move from one sequencer, from one oscillator to another, or back and forth, you're going to get the exact same reproduction. All right, so let's go ahead and plug in these other inputs here. So here's FM. This is going to be a little similar to the V per octave, except we're attenuating at this end. Of course, you can speed that up and get, let's turn this up a little bit. You can get some really nasty FM synthesis. Now, this other one's not going to work. It's for pulse width, and this is the only pulse output that we have. So if we plug into here, and we start to turn that. And if you take it out, this does a static change. All right, so we've got this, and we've got our little LFO for doing some testing and checking. Now, obviously, we need to add a filter. There's no way this is going to be cool without a filter. So let's go ahead and go back into the BogAudio. There's a VCF, right? Is this the VCF? I think it is. Yes. Let's move this LFO out of the way for a moment. And we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to come out and then go into the filter, and then out of the filter into the mixer. Let's put some resonance on there to get a little. And then let's go ahead and add this this LFO onto it just to. There we go. Nice. So the next thing would be to kind of decide on where you want to go. It really can branch off from here. A lot of the times I'll use the filter itself as sort of a VCA, because I can have it go down to being completely silent and then coming back in with its nice little sweep. I could also send a pulse or a gate or something like that to the CVN to have it affect it. But to keep things traditional, let's go ahead and add a VCA to the end of that. You can also always type up here, and it'll bring up all the ones. Here we go, Bog VCA. Now there's 2 on here, and I hope I remember that this time. So we're gonna come, oops, wrong way. We're gonna move the output over to here, and now we're gonna connect these 2 here. Actually, let's go up here and here. Now, in order for this VCA to work, we'll need to have an envelope put into it. So let's go ahead and use, here, I'm going to cheat here. We'll put this in, and now once we connect this envelope, it should shut off. Yeah. So I can press it. It'll happen. Here, let's give it a longer sustain. Here, let's put that back to where it is more. So right there is a whole synth voice. It's not very interesting, though, because there's nothing really driving it. There's no notes. It's a static note. So in order to expand on that, again, this is another fork in the road where you could really go a lot of different ways, but let's just keep it simple. Let's keep using I believe there is a sequencer All right, so now we have our sequencer in here, but this is going to need a couple of supporting modules. One, it's going to need a clock to step through these stages, and then we're also going to want a quantizer of something just so that they're scaled in chromatic notes. So the module I'm going to grab here is called Stack. I know there are plenty of other really nice modules out there for what we're going to do, but this will get it done. So we're going to come in to here into CV Quantize, and then we're going to come out into this voltage in. Now we were just missing one more thing here, which is a clock to push this around. We're just going to use one of these LFOs again. So I'm just going to take this LFO here. We'll probably reorganize this a little bit more. But there we go. Now you can see it. I'm going to put this LFO on pulse. And as you can see, it's running through. Now, if we hold down the trigger, not a lot is going to be changed. So if we hit randomize, we've now got some... Here, let's double click this to reset it, and let's try it now. So that's kind of far. If you right click on a lot of these modules, you get a lot of different options. One here is the range. So we're going plus or minus 10 volts, which is way too high. Let's do 0 to 3 volts. And that should be a little bit more musical here. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah. All right, so, and we can extend this out. Let's extend the steps out a little longer so it's... I don't know if that's better, but it's there. We could hit randomize again. No reason not to randomize twice. So now we need something to generate the gate signals. There's a ton of things to go in that direction, but for now, let's just use our gate. It's a pretty simple little gate generator. We'll plug it into the input here. And again, it needs a clock source. We're going to pull from the same clock source that we had here. So pop, pop. There we go. You can we could keep tweaking around with this, but it's fairly the same. All right. So now, as you can tell, we have a complete working voice. Where do you go from there? I like to just make another one. So if you do Command or Control D, you'll duplicate. And we're just gonna do just that with this voice. Oh, we don't need to with the VCA, actually. That's about the only thing, because we already have one. Here, let's scooch this over. All right. Perfect. Now, let's go ahead and mute this for the moment. And let's do the plumbing on this module here. We're going to pretty much just do the same thing, so hopefully we can do it from memory not too badly. So we're going to come from the saw out into here. Then we're going to come from the audio out into the VCA here. And then we're going to come from the VCA out into our mixer here. Let's go ahead and get that filter moving around. Nice. And let's go ahead and connect the... Actually, let's do this. Let's connect the output of the... I'll show you the difference between Quantize here, we'll even take this off for a second. So the thing you're listening for actually does sound stepped, doesn't it? Let's come out of this and go into CV Quantize. There you go. Yeah. So you can hear the quantization taking effect. Now we'll need a clock. Let's just use the same clock as before. So we'll do a little bit of savings. We'll need to randomize this guy as well. That's like a... Ooh. Alright, so let's attach the gate. Or, no, attach the envelope to the VCF here. Turn this full volume. And now we're going to touch the gate. And this needs a clock, right? I'm going to hit randomize on this. And let's... And there's a voice. We've got two voices going right now. It's a little spacey and weird. In the next video, we'll expand upon this, add some effects, start getting a little bit stranger. And simply put, this is two voices playing. They're maybe not in the same key. There's plenty of utilities that can get further and further, but this is honestly quite pleasant for me. And that's going to do it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment below on how you like to start out a patch in VCV Rack. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.